Yeah. The big idea is home monitoring, that we can go in and we can know when they need more service, when things are looking bad, and still working.
So it's not that the problem is get me intimate with them. I'm just going with the version that I appreciate in my head. So the version that I appreciate.
I got it.
Here's the woman. Here's here's the threats to her. Here's the scariness. Here's the crazy cost structure to care for her. Here's the opportunity. Here's where she might go if she can't afford all the crazy costs. How many people can afford to spend blah blah blah? And no one's gonna. One person's gonna raise their hand. And here's how we solve that problem.
It's always the same.
And then here's the scale of the market. After that, here's how big the company opportunity is. Here's
not
Years, I mean, we can't, if they need help getting out of the bathroom, we can't do that. It's a system.
Yeah, but they'll be relevant.
But years before they leave. Okay, right.
You got 6 minutes.
I understand.
You got to keep it very simple, right?
There's
There's a way to do this that doesn't
Yeah.
cost as much as having it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's better than both. That's it. The rest of it is goes to the motions from an investor standpoint because it's good for you, but they're going to walk with one message.
Okay.
All right, I got to keep moving, or I'm really going to be else in. Amanda,
Yes.
how are you going to hook people? Story or stat or something?
Working with metal is really hard, and believe it or not, I had a dream. And so, in doing that, and I have no idea how to. I haven't even looked at my slides.
So my first,
I don't even
the
know.
first thing that my first bit of feedback is don't make it about you.
Yeah.
Something that in the beginning illustrates the opportunity and personalizes. And you might be able to do here like me, where you might want to take who's your actual customer, because it might not be CEOs of machining companies. It might be, that.
So working with metal is extremely hard. In the normal course of business, does it the hard way and the old school way every single day when they're trying to hand cut metal. I can help you every day and accurately, adaptable to any piece of hand plasma coater that's already on the market. You can actually create a shop buddy for yourself and increase your revenues and your output by saving time, money, and accuracy.
So you're doing a sales pitch.
Okay.
Your audience is not a customer. So the you is you might be able to reframe that a little bit so that you're speaking to a customer, right? So here's Jane. She's a she works in a shop. Or here's Bill. He's this side. that's where trying to understand who your customer is and then putting that archetype of the customer in this role makes it such a universally helpful tool, because, and you can do it with yourself. So I'm not saying that it can't be done.
I don't want to. I don't know.
You lose a little
Is
bit
it
of that.
disrespectful to put a picture of a metal worker on there and be like, this is Bob?
Mhm.
Bob likes to do everything the hard way.
No.
He carries
That
a
might
big
be
sheet of metal
yes.
around and everything's
So
dirty.
I
There's
was
nowhere
kind
to
of-
put it.
I was, very quickly though, you talked about how there's this, there's really the difference in how metal, and so when we had Aaron from iCropTrack get up and say, this is what everybody thinks a farmer looks like, and this is not what farming's like, right? And there's this opportunity to put up like this dirty, big burly steel worker or something and say like, when you think of people who work with metal, you think of this. Why? Because they have to lift and carry and haul and it's lots of weight, which means there's all these people who can't do this job because the equipment was designed for this, right? But there are women like me who want to work with metal.
Yeah, I don't want to pitch that though.
No?
Because everybody's going to assume that in the beginning anyway. So you're like, oh, you want to?
So I want to sell this to other dudes. It's not quite as exciting.
I know.
Well, I mean,
It's good for the bank account.
it's
It's bad for the.
I know.
but I mean, who are you gonna sell?
It's dirty and he needs a fixture table to do this easily and accurately the first time.
Is it, so the problem is that Bob throws away a bunch. Bob hurts his back by lifting stuff. There's like 10 problems that Bob has, right? I mean,
Technology hasn't changed in 20 years. That's
Yeah.
the basic bottom line. Yeah.
but there are examples. Notion that, you know,
I just want to show a picture of like a steel table and what it looks like. Like this is Bob's table.
That might work. I mean, if Bob's throwing his back out and Bob's throwing a bunch of money down the drain,
Yeah.
and Bob is not, he doesn't have access to the newest, hottest technology, and so he's always playing catch up, right? Now I care about Bob. Bob's making a bunch of mistakes, and we want Bob to do better, right? And you've designed something. I mean, that's, if you're gonna go that route, that angle might work.
I'm just afraid that if I use this unit to women in metal fabrication, which there's no market for that.
well, so one of the things you can do is do the hook with this and then do a second layer hook with, oh, by the way, yes, I know there's a street, but there's 25,000 then, and here's all the problems they have. Right? So you can do kind of a first year, second year on this.
Or do like even the playing field maybe slide where it's like, oh, well,
comes back to the beginning and says, you remember Sue, you remember Bob? This is just as effective at performing in this industry, which is typically been biased towards stronger people. Right?
so hand plasma cutter cuts metal.
Okay.
We make a universal fixture table that you put the plasma cutter on.
Okay.
That gives you different attachments to use that's already out there, but with a patented system
So it makes it easier and faster, and what else?
and accurate.
More accurate. Okay.
Correct. You get a computer-like cut from
Okay.
using your own hand.
That's a good way to say it, what you just said. Computer-like cut, yeah.
Because our hook is change the way you cut metal. We want to change the way people cut metal
Okay.
by hand.
Okay.
So thank you.
But what it does is it makes it, I mean, another making CNC.
We're bridging the
for-
gap between hands-free and CNC.
Yeah.
Cutting by hand and then computer.
Right, so there's something really important about that you haven't focused on as much as weaker people being able to do larger, heavier things.
Okay.
But the predictable, accurate cuts without waste, the perfection. that
Save
you have in it.
$30,000 by.
Yeah,
So you're
like,
bringing like
there's
metal
no way to
cutting
think
to
about it, like,
digital
really
age or something.
Yeah, we're bridging the gap really. We're giving the average Bob he could have a CNC $30,000 machine by having this type of capability.
Could you?
Yeah,
No,
the
like-
technology.
Yeah. So maybe there's something there.
Well, it
Technology
takes
revolution.
an old technology and makes it useful again.
Could you,
It improves upon it.
I'm just throwing this out here, there was, it's like, sounds like it's more of a fixture tool. And I remember that there was like, in residential, commercial type product where it was like a table that you could be adjusted all different ways to help people cut wood and things like that.
Yeah.
Could you maybe leverage something like that? I don't know, maybe leverage something like that in and bring it and kind of tie the two together, because probably a lot of people are familiar with that product.
Yeah, I'll look at the different models because there are welding fixture tables, so maybe I can look at their pitches to see what their angle is.
It was a black, I think it was black,
It takes the old, makes it as accurate as current technology with minimal cost,
Right.
with what they already
Yeah, see,
have.
the 3D printer gives like a regular person the ability to print something like a factory would, right?
Yeah.
So maybe,
Like
and 3D printers, do you guys know what 3D printers are?
Mhm.
Yeah, like most people know what it is because it's like the cool new thing.
Mhm.
So you can compare it to that. I don't know if that's the best way to go about it, but that's
Yeah,
one way.
I'll think about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Ed,
Thank you for comparing.
This will be a frustrating process for everyone. These decks tend to be really useful.
It's not just that. You see what we started doing is out of this process, we're saying, what is your compelling reason for existing? What is the big opportunity in business? How, and the effort to communicate that to the audience forces you to investigate it for yourself and do it in a way that you kind of know in the back of your mind, there is this thing and you know kind of notionally what it is, but when you're forced to defend it in front of people and you've got to justify it, you think much more critically about it than you do in passing, right? Because you're just busy working on your business right now. So what we're doing is forcing you to get into the weeds, and these are the weeds that you need to be reflective about what the big opportunity is in your business.
How do we get out of the sales mentality? Because I just want to, that's what I'm used to. How do we extract ourselves and describe it in a plate of food?
So we'll coach you. Coaching. Back to the interviewing process, pushing you out of that sales process, you can space a little bit. That'll just force you into a box. We're on
I
their
just want to
schedule.
get a little bit of everybody.
Okay. All
How
right.
many
fair
people, how many people know their local police officer? A local police officer. So our police departments are becoming an entity that is disconnected from the public, which is eroding their image, credibility, and trust. We must reestablish the connection and relationships with our neighborhoods. That will make the patrol officer's job easier and safer. The best and easiest way to reestablish our connection and relationships with the public we serve
Amir, and it's a good thing. Right? I think there's ways to make it more compelling, right? Again, picture of someone on a bike. Here's some stories of
Something.
That's what your little clip can look like.
Hi, everybody. We know this is high event season in Tucson, so we're really glad you chose to spend a little time with us tonight. I am Diana Holland, and this is Foresight Communities. Recently, the issue of domestic violence has been hauled out of the shadows. To make a better future for these women. And I believe the United States has an opportunity to stand as a role model for the world. We can start right here in Tucson. Foresight Communities is a place for women who have decided to move beyond the drama and the trauma of the violence and who have made a commitment to make a better life for themselves and their children. Arizona, 229 women reported domestic violence. Now that means that 200
Obviously, pretty powerful. Everybody remember that video clip? You know what that was from? It was Ray Rice beating his girlfriend on camera in an elevator, football player. That's a hook, right? that you have the potential to have a hook just like that. There's footage from St. Louis, right? Ferguson. There's footage like that can be playing in the background. You can anchor the why for this audience to care about local policing through bicycles, right? That's why I brought this up for you, because you've got a similar kind of. Oh, sure. You say, my name is Ed, and I'm
decide whether they're going to spend 6 minutes with you or 6 minutes checking their phone. So,
yep.
So that's what we keep coming back to. I know you don't want to change the world, but how do we come back to something that's compelling, that has some emotional underlying to it?
I do stuff from Rich. That's ridiculously insane.
How many of you have a credit score of 0? How many of you have been late on a debt payment? How many of you would like to never have to worry about obtaining credit ever again? You don't need credit. What you need is a better life and financial stability to provide yourself and your family everything that.
All right. What is so? What is that anchored against? What's the project?
Well, I've just decided to go back to my roots because this is what I'm good at.
Okay.
Thanks to Tony.
All right.
Well,
That sounds very good.
Yep,
So-
thanks to Tony.
So what is your product?
So intellectual program on how you can build a business.
Training.
Yeah, build a business and everything without. A house payment at 30 years old.
Okay.
How realistic is a 0 credit score? Because I think it should be like, is that a thing?
Yeah,
Is that?
for my clients, absolutely, they love it. In fact, we
I don't know if
celebrate it.
Wait a minute. Oh, zero debt.
No, we're talking about a 0.
I mean, you want an 800.
You want an 800.
No, because the credit score is so that you can obtain debt, and if you don't need debt because you have plenty of money to sell.
Wait a second. Parents went to buy their last house. My dad's credit score was 0.
Mhm.
Absolutely 0. He had more trouble getting.
Well, she's saying you got like.
He was buying it cash though.
No, but you're assuming your story.
Take your cash
So obviously,
and
it's not perfect. what she's saying that I teased out of this is you between doesn't matter.
So fast because no one's gonna.
Yeah,
grasp
no, I
it.
mean, we need to.
And we're all-
Yeah, I
all,
didn't-
all
and we're all
of this
going,
feedback is exactly.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I thought you were talking about like your credit score going
So
down.
bad.
It's
No.
so
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, that's what I.
Credit score
Yeah,
zero,
this is-
meaning you have no credit. You
Right.
have nothing.
Yeah, that
There's a
doesn't.
general
That,
sense.
Yeah, the
I
point
totally
of that is
understand that that's what it
misaligned
is.
from what the world understands.
Yeah,
Creates
exactly.
Confusion.
Yeah, it
That's
didn't
what this-
Which is
communicate.
why we're all broken, we're in debt.
What we don't want to do is lose the audience with the open.
That because you want to be careful about sounding salesy in this presentation.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love sales. In this, you may want to use a proxy. You want to say,
Okay.
you know, this is Bob. Bob's credit is terrible. Bob was in debt for years. Blah 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 blah. We're not a worker. We're moving this product. Right? Right. And you've got a proxy that you're not talking about.
So do you help us get rid of the anxiety in starting a business?
With,
Like, are you helping people start businesses, or are you helping them?
yeah, we're opening a new one actually, April 1st, a huge spa from East Lake Town.
So that's what you would help, so that's what the,
The anxiety piece though is good.
Every Thank you. And there's a thing there, and none of that is even the hook. Like it's sort of the next phase after that. The hook is here's 92%. The percentage of ideas that people fail to go do because they're all right. Well, to your point, we'll
figure it out.
accelerate this one.
Clock on this. Doctor appointment that day. My actions, the time clock demonstrates how much they despise her time. Then I'm gonna have a $100 bill on the stage I'm gonna rip up. Now, she calls a company that we're gonna call Dishonest Landscape Company, that she hires, and they start providing regular landscape maintenance service for her. But she eventually figures out that they're not providing service for her every month, even though they continue to bill her. Now, my ripping up the $100 bill demonstrates how much disrespect is. I despise. This is my verbiage. I know I gotta change it, but I wanted to say I despise no-show landscape companies because they piss and poop all over your mom's valuable time. Why do we exist? Because I hate dishonest landscape companies because they do the same all over the valley of your mom's money and over her trust for an honest service provider. And then transition to what I'm calling the stress-free landscape maintenance service with the hook of that photo service.
I like it. I would just do the things you're gonna do when you're talking about them. Don't do it first and then talk about it. Say, this is what they think of your time. Smash.
Okay.
This is what they think of your money. Rip.
Okay.
Do it then. But yeah, I mean,
That's
You're gonna want a giant $100 bill, not a tiny little real one.
okay.
I think if you say this is a real, it has a big effect.
I'll bring you
You
a
can
fake
show
one.
it later.
Yeah, I'll
I'll even go.
That's it.
It was too long. What I didn't actually like about it was the third person. From this other language perspective that doesn't, it's not about the person on the screen that I'm looking at. It's about this thing that's in my head, but I'm listening and looking at you and I get confused by that. Like I was listening and like lost.
Okay.
Even though I knew what you were doing, it still was like, who am I focused on here? Who's the she in this? There's not a person on the screen.
Okay.
We each have our own person in our head. And
Okay.
I've lost track of that.
Okay, so don't do the mom, but do the, like someone said, avatar.
You can use someone's, yeah, I mean, you can do that,
Like
or you
you're
can
gonna
put
name-
your mom up there. This is my mom.
All right.
Yeah. But it was just the orientation of your words
Okay.
that forced me to think extra, that
Okay.
made it hard to connect to.
I got you.
Okay. Remember the last time that you lost power at your home? You struggled to walk around your house. Take a hot shower. You lose your power. In the United States. And you found this beautiful plot of land that you can use to generate, to build, to grow produce. But there's no electricity there. So what are you going to do? Here at Renew, we use the sun to generate electricity and hot water in a small, compact environment to help you on your farm and bring and produce and.
Again, use the farmer illustrate. Let's use that just as a representation. And then you talk about
I felt like you were going to say, like, in the U.S. this doesn't happen very often, but around the world this happens all the time.
Yeah, and I was
This could be
thinking
every day. In some parts of the world, this could be several times.
So what we're trying to do is okay, so one opportunity, at least here in the U.S., that we are looking at is it in the area of agriculture where you don't have electricity.
Yeah.
But you're right, I mean, because we were thinking that might be another, but it's a little bit more distant, and I don't know how we're going to be able to connect to that.
You just got to pick one to start with, right?
I think maybe if you focus on the farmer and tell the story of the farmer and say, like, when your electricity is out, can copy out on this much money. Like, show that it's a way bigger. Like you're gonna do a consumer play, okay, right? But then you switch to the farmer. So I would focus on the farmer, but definitely make them relate to it. Like, it's not a big deal if I don't have electricity for like 20 minutes, right? It's not gonna kill me. But what happens if a farmer doesn't have electricity for 20 minutes, right? You got to show the impact there. That makes sense.
Okay, the idea I had was, I mean, your system is what the current solution is. What does it shrink down to? How much space does it save? You're like, oh, these solar panels take up all this growing room for farm, but you can have it like right here. Right.
Would that be part of the hook, or was that like the next slide? Mm-hmm. To be in the hot water combined, but just electricity alone, it's like 1.5 times more efficient per square foot. So it's in that size.
Yeah, we got to frame it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it a third of the size? I don't know. That could be its own hook. You you could tell the story in that
Totally,
way.
a picture of like
Yeah.
all these solar panels and here's how much power
Yeah.
your number of panels generate. You know?
Which is equal to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Right, something like that. Yeah, we can work on it.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And
The
then-
hook is the thing at the end of that process.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. In a- Money. Okay, so this is my.
Kids in cages.
Yeah. Well, it's the animals and the cages and the kids, and you do the combo and it's cool. Okay, this is Michael. He's 5 years old. His family can't afford enough food to keep him healthy. Without a lower IQ, eyesight issues, and poor academic performance requiring special assistance while in school. He may even die. Crucial nonprofits like food banks, community pantries, and church food programs save the lives of children like Michael. If nonprofits do not raise enough money, kids go hungry, people get sicker, and animals die. Fundraisers who don't know what they're doing, who cannot access education, or don't have someone from whom to learn, hurt our communities. Fundraising in a box is a quick, affordable, anonymous fix. And then, did we talk a little bit about what it is?
Sure.
Okay. White label documents and online support allow early career, regionally isolated, global startup, and volunteer fundraisers to raise the money they need.
And I have a different one too, we wanted you guys to compare them.
But about the animals die thing,
I will
because
just
it's a
say
cow,
that-
you
But if we
know.
put gun to a puppy's head, the checkbooks are like
Yeah,
open.
So Justin, what are you gonna do too?
that's okay. Can you wait so he can kind of.
That's fine.
See what time
Let's
it is?
finish the.
Yeah, we're meeting.
It's not today. I want to finish this thought just because I'm already thinking about this.
Okay.
2011. Can you imagine not only the horrific loss, but what would you do if you couldn't afford to transport the body, pay for a funeral, much less buy flowers for someone you love? I didn't cry. So, or attend court hearings in another city or state, take time away from work. Well, there's a nonprofit that assists families for this. My name's Angie Smith, and I'm a co-founder of Smith & Dale, a fundraising consulting company. We help hundreds of nonprofits raise money, but there are thousands more like the one I just described that cannot afford our services. Nonprofits help families, children, animals, communities. Nonprofits with enough resources mean that our children go hungry, people get sicker, we grow an ever-increased uneducated workforce, and animals die. So there are 1 million globally. 1.125 million U.S. nonprofits with budgets under $500,000. Nonprofits are the third sector. They do what government can't and corporations won't. This is a product to help nonprofits with these modest, hers is better, budgets and huge missions effectively and affordably fundraise.
So, unfortunately and sadly, that one is better. But yeah, that one is better.
That was a hook.
Good.
I think you two could work together.
Yeah.
Well, we will. We just wrote them separately just to see.
Maybe
Yeah.
you guys should start a company together.
There's an argument to not do that one. So I don't want to leave it out, which is that you might lose people in sadness.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what made me think of it was the one when the other guy was here was saying, I woke up in prison one day.
Right. It's super vivid,
It is.
right? And there's a way to do that. The thing is, you might be able to do yours by replacing your personal story with a different story that is measured and not yours, right?
So Michael's?
It could be, or it could, but even like that one I thought could be better, right? There's a better story the end of the day, yours is going to be the easiest, like you two are competing for the easiest hook to get people, and you can actually go too far. And you have the risk of that too, because that might be polarizing in some ways, right? So things to keep in mind on both things.
I'm just wondering on those, is there too much, I'm just asking this, is there too much attention on raising money for nonprofits as opposed to your system that helps like make that easier for them? You know?
But it's just the hook, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have the rest of the pitch. That might be true, and I actually kind of felt like we might be too far in past the hook as we're going into the details.
Yeah.
So that may be why you felt that word. The hook is where all the confusion you were seeing.
Like the story about the person at the nonprofit that's having trouble raising money. They're,
Yeah.
I don't know, that it's just a thought.
Yeah, no, there's a couple different tweaks. One, and your point is valid.
Well, I wrote one too that was about from the fundraiser's perspective, but then we're thinking who in this audience that we're talking to is going to give a shit if a fundraiser doesn't ring, you know, they're awake at night, stressed out, because we feel the pressure of having hungry kids that we're responsible for.
But you can tie those together though.
Yeah, that's it. You can combine those, right? So you
Yeah.
can start with here's my goal, and this is all, and this is Susan, and she's trying to
Who's
raise money to feed kids
responsible.
like
Yeah,
myself.
Right,
It's
yeah.
keeping her up at night, right? She doesn't have support, she doesn't have that, right?
Oh, good, okay.
Because she cares enough about, right? So, I don't know, there's a way to.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that.
Yeah.
I mean,
A
there's.
great transition is when you stop talking about personal, like the second. Because you're already like caught up, everybody's focused on you, right? But we need that, oh, there's somebody to be happy for.
Yeah, right.
So otherwise, I'm going to be the one in the audience that has to leave, and I'm like, ah!
That is, you get to a point where some of these really emotional hooks that you also, you're gonna have people in the audience that trigger, right?
Based on feeling what it was, how you were gonna help us, that was related to us, right? What was it?
Yeah, and with Diana, like that defined her. The whole, her emotion was true all the way through. She was a victim. It ended up being okay because she had the same sort of struggle. So it might work out okay to do that too.
As long as you can turn it at the end, which is not easy.
Yeah.
What Ashley left out of his deck this time is the was that after that? Okay.
An interview that goes on the front of this.
Yeah, so this is separate from the other. How does Saturday the 26th?
Okay, well, Tuesday weekend, we're not meeting.
Out of town.
This,
I know you can't.
Who else?
Three down on this one.
What about the one after?
We can't do that one.
The one after the
I think
27th.
that's true.
After the 27th is.
So
3 people can't be here this weekend?
So what about a Thursday night when we have no class?
Yeah,
A Thursday night?
I have to class all week.
I didn't do.
yeah.
About not. Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day.
Get my hair did on this Thursday, that'd be great.
Where's that St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patty's Day, that
We
should
go
be
from here
fun.
to the park.
Having some green brew. Another green go. Entertain myself a little.
What's the,
That's in 2 days from now?
I know, but that was the whole fun, we're trying to.
Yeah, we're using that.
Yeah, there's. Week or something, or?
Differences.
Oh,
It's possible.
easier, yeah, it's
We have to
easier.
reset us every day.
We can do Thursday.
This Thursday, next Thursday, when you would be doing this. Okay, what about next
So
Thursday?
Thursday the 17th. Everybody except for one.
Who can not do it the following Thursday?
This is the 17th.
You're still not.
Oh, I can do it this Thursday, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about next Saturday, the Thursday.
Oh, okay.
We were, okay.
So you're down to
So you can't. do
everybody in
this
here,
Thursday?
but
I can do,
we're down. It's perfect for everybody, but you and perhaps Jerome.
You're saying like 2 days from now?
So two for this Thursday and one for next Thursday.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with next
This is an
Thursday.
interview, right? You're gonna ask questions, right?
Yes, we'll figure that out.
So we don't have to prepare, that's. I mean,
No, you're not, you don't have to
it's
make
not
a speech or anything. It's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
We're gonna
interview
ask you about your
why
business.
We just have to look good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
We can do that. And
Everybody's okay the following Thursday.
Gotcha.
The 17th.
Okay.
Excellent.
Can you find out?
I'll text her right now and ask.
Okay, cool. All right, tentatively,
But-
we'll- got it.
Okay.
this coming Thursday, we can confirm that?
No, 17th.
The 17th.
No.
Oh, the 17th. St. Patty's
I
Day.
still have to check with the person who's filming it. so.
Wow.
Okay, you're.
I'll do the yes to everybody, but the one person that matters.
All right, so
So then
just
it's
so
our
we're all,
second choice would be.
we're all clear, you don't have to.
Thank
Thank you.
There's no stipulations.
We're gonna ask you about your business.
I understand that, but there should be basic questions that we're all getting answered, right?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
It's probably stuff we've already been asked by.
It's just gonna be like,
Justin.
tell us about yourself.
You've got, well.
and they'll edit
you've got
out all
some
the
questions
crap.
to give him.
Yeah, I can give you the questions of that.
Okay,
Perfect, it's fine.
cool.
I'll
All right,
send this
see
to
you
you.
guys soon.
Thanks, man.
Yep,
Thank you.
just to refresh. One is just to have your face up on the screen, so we all know you're a human and why you're doing what you're doing. Not blah, 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 or I always want to lie and who you are and your name when you walk up the stage. So you don't have to say, I'm Amanda. You just walk out and you start with your problem.
Yes, but I'd like to know beforehand because I want to know what my angle is on the pitch. I don't want to just be like.
Yeah, he's gonna give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this.
He's gonna give it out.
3 or 4 questions.
That's all I should.
How did you do this? Why are you doing it? I'll send it to you. And I'll send them to you and the mayor.
All right. Let's hear yours.
I did this for Amir yesterday when he was in my office, and he told me to potentially use different images than the ones I have, but I'm gonna give it to you as I wrote it.
Okay.
And then we can go from there. Meet Mary. Mary doesn't feel good. She has headaches every day. She's struggling to manage work, motherhood, being a healthy, vibrant, sexy woman, and she doesn't feel like she's winning at most of these tasks. Meet Bill. Bill doesn't feel good. He has to produce more every day to keep his position, to fulfill his career goals, to be a good husband and a family man. He feels exhausted and frustrated from the effort, and he is getting older every day. Both Mary and Bill are nervous and possibly downright afraid of not being able to keep up their responsibilities if they become sick or worse, get a diagnosis. Both Mary and Bill really want to feel better, but have no idea. Mary and Bill represent the working people of America. 66% of moms feel stressed, and 74% of dads feel stressed. Peace of mind, we all want it. Hope. Going into my pitch, but that would be my hook story.
So,
Ending place. It's owned by my evil twin sister. Just for the record.
can you go back to the maybe a little too much of the bulleted background? If you get like 4 maybe on each story. They're also abstract versions of it. They're not specific. They were like a specific thing that resonates a little better with me.
So you want
Maybe she.
I don't know.
I'd send the men in the room and drop out.
Thought about that. Because Bill has multiple, and there's a lot of cliche. Bill's not very good at golfing anymore. Bill's not very good at, whatever.
Yeah.
What about using the athletic approach where
Right.
Bill's playing outfield soccer with his son, and he sprints after the ball, and the next thing you know, he pulls his hamstring,
Right.
or something like that. Because
Well, I was trying to make it relatable to the reality of the situation of because stress is what kills people, and so everyone's great because it's way too much data, but I was trying to make them correlate, the data that I'm going to be quoting. So I'm not opposed to it. I'm just letting you know why I chose what I've chosen at the moment, which is why I haven't scheduled an appointment with you on Thursday to look at this in person, because I have Amir's suggestion was to not talk about Mary or Bill, but to use my story. After I showed him my story board that I have, he's like, you need to tell that as a story. And so it shows a picture of me going from being this really happy kid to turning into this really, really unhappy person. And you could just see it. And then when I had my big shift in life change, and here I am being all happy, and I maintained that happiness for over 20 years.
So keep in mind, and this I thought was an interesting point for my story, is in the opening 30-second video. Why do you care? That's where the why did you do this?
Right.
Right.
Can fit.
I was a kid,
You
kind of,
see the
yeah,
decoration?
healthy.
Right.
Photo, but your opening slide could be that photo.
Well, that's what he said. He's like, that story is so much more powerful than Mary and Bill.
Yeah.
Even though I spent a bunch of money and spent hours trying to find the perfect picture of a tormented woman
Yeah.
to be Mary and a frustrated Bill. But that's okay. I'll use them somewhere else.
Yeah.
But so that was really so as far as the hook is concerned, is watching, and maybe I would make a slightly different picture. But it shows that progression, because that's really what people don't really. Oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, or they get a diagnosis.
So, so I think tightening that down, shifting the story over to you, not doing before and after.
Right.
The photo is before, and you on stage is the after.
Right, that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm fine with that. I wrote the Mary and Bill story, so I haven't written my story just yet, because I mean, I've written it, but it's way too long. Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ever been to a farmer's market? They're often comprised of dozens of small or individual to make their living selling food and depend on customer support. People love the variety of markets, particularly for its novelty and uniqueness, and they care about eating better, fresher farmers today, but for most people, they are large distances away, only open a few hours a week at most, and the customers who attend these markets, as they miss out on their favorite products in the off season, hurting those vendors. And then I go into my solution.
What if he had either something in his hand to show, or on a slide a picture of pesticides, and like an image of what pesticides does to fruit, like a rotted fruit or something, compared to a fresh fruit in your hand or something, to make that dramatic intro?
Well, that is dramatic. Tuning it up, but it's staging it for my solution, because I was trying to capture some kind of pain.
You want to talk about the problem that's relevant
to
your solution, and you're not solving pesticide because that problem is already solved by lots and lots of your competitors, and it's an established solution. That's the risk of doing global warming for solar, is that everybody gets the easy, obvious one. You know, here's the pollution, and here's what we're cleaning, but that. You're talking about your hook, and this was generally speaking, it was the missed opportunities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
From their perspective, think can be the powerful number. You know, how many customers are lost? How many hours are lost? Experiences are there? There's a tremendous amount of uncertainty that you're trying to introduce. So giving that scale can be part of the bigness of your hook.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's not getting knocked out in an elevator. It's you're in fact, it's pragmatic and relatable and familiar, but not the heartstrings.
Right.
Any other thoughts or comments?
But you're trying to set yourself up though for for having food shifts. Isn't that what you're trying to do? Maybe wherever your favorite place is, you imagine being able to bring that home.
It's a totally a different approach. I mean, that's a little bigger idea, absolutely.
I get the pragmatic approach. I think you want to try to, if you can, have people go through that memory of taste and like whatever it was, right? The perfect salsa or whatever.
Okay.
Just give them those examples, right? And then, something happened, it shifted, the merchant's no longer there. Like, this happens every day across the United States to people who wintered somewhere and summered somewhere else, right? And just like you, they want that perfect salsa, that custom artisan soap, the thing that they grew to love in the place they were at. Something like that, right? If you can get me to taste it and to think about it and the way it smells, like just the sensory memory, that can be really powerful.
So would this be something like in the pitch? Like this? Yeah.
Whole basket of vegetables. Push it out in a wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow.
Of course.
And then have a cookie on stage.
Okay, but you definitely are saying relate it to the custom consumer approach rather than trying to muddle it with other problems.
Yeah,
So,
I would.
Okay.
Because the people in the audience, very few of them are going to be selling at farmers markets, right? They're going to be the consumer.
Or care, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
making a living is great.
You know the other thing? Fresh fruits and vegetables to all the corners of town, and you're doing it. One of the reasons it doesn't happen currently is that the system is not repeatable and efficient.
Yeah.
Right, and you have unlocked the ability to put these in small places and large, in low income and upper income, and in areas all over that makes these markets accessible to people.
Right.
And so the hook is here's the 8 places or 18 places in Tucson that are served by farmers markets on any given day. Whatever. Here's all the places that we could do it in a given week if we were in charge.
Okay.
Right? So what your visual contrast is the scarcity of these things today versus the high accessibility of tomorrow.
but how does that relate to the box? That isn't it?
Well, I feel like the box still relates to that. I still think the bigger problem anyways, that if you're getting back to it, is that we are bringing this food to people that normally wouldn't have access to it. And it's kind of like the satellite concept expanded. I mean, it's basically for customers, 90% of them will go to a grocery store or a market or whatever it is that you get food from if it's within 3 miles of you. Otherwise, you're pretty much not going to do it. So it's getting it out there, right? Like whether it's your yoga studio or dance or something else, people will go farther, but for food, they want to stay really close. And so, yeah, it's hard to get it to them for a lot of people because grocery stores or whatever are expensive. But we found it to be able to do it extremely capitally efficient.
Well, your entire market is different. You have a different supply chain than a grocery store.
Yeah.
So another angle on this is that here's the challenge of the local distribution. 17 grocery stores, and here's Big Agra and all the products that they represent. And here's the small farmer, and here's the tiny little dots of 18 of them that are way smaller. And you could, if you were to do it at scale, you could like have a giant dot represent Big Agra. Let me kind of think of this so we can kill it. And then for every grocery store on the map, you layer on another giant dot until the whole screen is covered with these giant dots. And all of those dots represent all of the food that Big Agra is selling. And then on top of the little dots, big dots, you place, here's Joe Farmer from Tucson, here's tiny, 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 tiny dots. And some visual contrast of like the scale and location accessibility, which is grocery stores, where little guy does not get in. The only way to get local fresh grown produce is little farmers markets. And there's very few of them. Here's our solution, many more of them, right? Or, you know, even if they're not the markets, but they're the boxes, right? Here's where they're at.
So that's, I think you gotta decide which direction. Yeah. In 6 minutes to make the case for both. That's the case for why it would be great.
6 minutes, like you just gotta focus.
Yep.
Yeah.
So think about which one you want to, that you really feel passionate about, because your passion is.
Okay.
Many of those.
I'm going to assume that everybody here loves to eat out. Okay. Who has a lot of trouble in deciding where to eat out? Most.
It doesn't matter.
Raise your hand or not. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine there. Everything that determines on where you go out to eat was already pre-decided for you. We've developed a platform that ranks where to dine based on your cuisine preference, proximity, price, age of establishment, the service level, the noise, the parking, and the quality of the food. To where if you prefer a certain price range and you prefer a certain cuisine, it's going to suggest the place to eat based on your preference, and it won't be the same for any one of you.
Match.com for eating out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have to clean that up, but.
No, you don't.
I would say who here is hungry? If you
That's
think
the
about
right
food,
one.
if you make me think about food, I'm gonna pay attention to you all day long.
So keep putting up pictures of delicious
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
How many people here enjoy great food? Like that's.
Everything you said exists for what you guys do?
No.
Okay. Is the goal to put that on a website, or to like put it on an app where you get
App.
it from
An app that that would use. That's the big idea.
All right, it's a good big idea.
There are some foodie apps out there.
Are you interested in this? I mean, because I'm taking investors.
Oh.
I would gladly pay you Tuesday.
This is the
questions. That's good. What it could be, right? That's good. I think it's a good start.
Screenshot? Those are screenshots?